Coach, big test for you guys Thursday night down in Boca against FAU. What type of challenges do they present?
Oh, how long do we have? I said this earlier before the camera was on. It's really fun watching them play. They play with a cohesion, a tempo, a togetherness that I think we as coaches all admire. And I said this on one of the interviews. If they had a logo that said SEC or ACC, they'd be a top 5-10 program in the country. What they did last year, and I get it, they had caught good fortune against Memphis in the opening round, then beat a good FDU team. But then the win against Tennessee, who was really, really good. Rick Barnes, one of the best coaches in the country. And then followed up against Kansas State to get to the final. So a ton of admiration for Coach May, his staff, what they've done there. And to have 14 of your 15 players or all the players eligible to return speaks volumes in this day and age of college basketball. So I could go on about their attributes. They're really physical. They take advantage of any mistake on your defense. When you hard hedge a ball screen, they attack it. They attack the edge, get downhill, willing to make the extra pass. They've got an inside-outside balance. Golden and Rosado and Carroll split the minutes. So it's like if you combine just their post player, that dude's averaging 20 and 10. And then Elijah Martin and John L. Davis, they get all the shine, deservedly so. They're NBA prospects. But Greenlee, Cavney's playing great. I don't know if Boyd's going to play, but we're preparing for him to play. Witherspoon doesn't. He's kind of the forgotten man. But this team is legit. They're deep. There's not a whole lot of weakness. And, big opportunity because they're a quality opponent, assuming it'll be sold out in Boca. We have our hands full.
Did your mood change at all watching what they did to Virginia Tech in the second half of that game Sunday, or did you anticipate that was in them all along?
I don't know if I had a mood change. It was just it was a great appreciation because you know how much respect I have for Mike Young, and they got it going. And it's a team that plays with a swag, not an arrogance, but a confidence that they have a belief that they're going to win the game. So we'll be to go into their place and coming off a championship in Orlando. I'm sure they'll be prepared. It's too good of a coaching staff not to be. So I think we know the endeavor we're about to embark upon.
And it's also your first true road test so far this season. How much can that help your team as you guys continue to develop, as you look ahead to conference play?
Yeah, John, well, you know me. Like we want this. We need this. You can't play in a league, especially the league we're moving to, and be prepared for the difficulty. Because once you hit January and the non-conference is over, it ratchets up another notch. League play is just that. So I think any opportunity that we got to maybe make it difficult on our guys from a competitive standpoint is beneficial. Now, what's the age-old adage? It's a bumpy road to better, and we're about to get on that ride. But I think if, Coach Bennett, after they lost to UMBC, said adversity, if you handle it right, it can buy you a ticket to a place that you couldn't have gone without it. Now, I think that's easier said than experienced, but once you experience it, I do think there's some fruit behind it if you handle it right.
Obviously, your entire team needs to play at kind of their peak to go up against a team as good as FAU. But is there anybody specifically you're looking for to step up?
No, Aaron, for us, we are who we are. Again, most people, they going into the season, it was how are you going to replace Darius? But for us, we kind of had a feeling that our group was connected, and I think the beauty of this team is we could have a different leading scorer any night out. We really try and take what the defense gives you, and our guys have a selfless disposition. So I'm not looking for one in particular, but I am looking for us to play with a version of ourselves that would warrant this opportunity.
We've talked a lot this season about the balance your team has. You just talked about it, just about anybody on the roster can lead the team in scoring on any given night. One guy that has that potential is Colin, Porter. We saw from him last year, but if you look at his box score so far this year, maybe he hasn't been doing as much in the scoring department. Maybe if you look away from the box score, what does he bring to this team in terms of his leadership and poise at the point guard position?
Yeah, great question, John. Hey, if you guys who are on Zoom, if you could mute your mics, that'd be great. I can't say enough about Colin Porter's play. Like, he's been fabulous this year. Again, going into the season, when you lose a guy like Darius and Colin in his competitiveness, he might have a propensity to say, okay, I'm the next guy because the ball is going to be in my hands a lot. And he hasn't done that in one instance. He's taken upon a role and identified a need, and I just think his ability to create for others, because he can make shots. Colin Porter could score 15 to 20 a game if he was asked to. So I think him morphing into what our team needed is it's been a little contagious. Like, you see a lot of guys sacrificing maybe their own for what the team needs. So his example that way has been exemplary, and man, I'm glad he's on our team.
The second half of games throughout this early juncture of the season has been a time where this team seems like they've stepped up, they've been able to dig in and be mentally tough. How much more does that get challenged against a dynamic team like FAU?
No, I think the whole weekend will be challenging. We'll have 80 minutes of challenge. Like, no one's talking about the Charleston game, but like, they're really good. Like, and I'm not sure where the origin of this 3-year challenge it became, but I do think it's going to be really beneficial for each program. And so we know going in that the first 20 minutes will be hard. The second, the third, and the fourth will be really hard. And I just think for us that second half is, our guys, we have a belief too, and we know who we are and where our identity lies. And I think we'll, hopefully be able to respond to whatever adversity is created in and through the game. But we'll play with a joy too. Like, again, that's the maturity of this group, guys. That they have a right take on reality. They realize it's a privilege to be able to play and to be off to a good start, and all that comes with that is neat. But it's not who we are or why we play or why we journey together. So I think keeping that in the right perspective is really healthy for our room.
You mentioned Colin and how he's been able to shift what he does to fit the team better. You called Kyle Mystique back, I think it was in Charlotte, because he's been able to morph into whatever he need be. And is that kind of become a theme of this team where any player can morph into any kind of role that's needed based on the given night?
Yeah, I don't think it's been an intentional pursuit. I think it's the residue of the young men that we have in our program and the families that they're from. Like, they see a need, they identify the need, and they try and address it. So again, it's why it's really fun coaching this group. Their connection is admirable, and their self-sacrifices, I think is really inspiring in a lot of ways, because you just, in this day and age of the world we live in, and there's so much I, me, mine, I just think we get a daily dose of this group in maybe an against the grain direction that they travel that is fun to be a part of in journeying with them.
I think we might have a few more out here. Hey, Jim, you got us?
Hello?
Hey, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, great. Hey, Coach, how are you today?
Hey, Jim.
Hey, I'm wondering, you talked about this being beneficial to each of the programs. Do you see it in any way being beneficial at all to mid-major basketball in general, being able to showcase 3 teams of this caliber?
Yeah, of course. I think, the Field of 68's interest in promoting it and kind of orchestrating it, I think speaks to just the fruit of some of the labor that's gone in the development of each of the programs. So we're privileged and honored to be a part of it, and Obviously, I think 2 of the games are on ESPNU, 2 of the 3, so it's always good to get that kind of national exposure.
And do you have a personal, well, first of all, what do you admire separately about each of the programs and the coaches and how they run them? And do you have any background with the coaches, personal history with either of the coaches, and maybe bumped into them on the recruiting trail or anything like that?
Yeah, Jim, I'll start with Charleston because I've known Coach Kelsey for a while. We actually connected the year he took off. I had an appreciation for why he stepped away, and he ended up coming to Charlottesville and kind of spending some time with us. And I got to know him a little bit and what he's about, and I think he's terrific. He's obviously acclaimed for being such a great coach, but I think he's even a better person, and love the way he runs his program. I actually went to Winthrop when he was there to watch them practice, and had a good friend on his staff, Jason G. So I think the world of Pat Kelsey. He's a phenomenal recruiter. He's a great coach. What they've done in their city has been admirable. And then with Dusty, again, I think all of college basketball, those of us who reside as coaches, we had an admiration for the job that he did last year and the way he's built his program. Real talk, I think he reminds me a lot of Coach Bennett. Just the way he carries himself, his demeanor on the sideline, how detailed their teams are in terms of the completeness on both ends. I think he's got a humility that is infectious. And, the thing that I think is most impressive about their team is just how the game can be going along and pretty even on each side, and within a 2.5 minute span, you're out of the game because I love Clark Kellogg. He's somebody I admire. He uses spurt ability. Their spurt ability is as good as any in college basketball. So, again, for me, I'm excited to be able to compete against programs like this, and I think our guys have that same disposition.